Over the past couple days, I've been playing a lot of Middle-earth Shadow of War. I was a huge fan of Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor, and I wanted to play this game, and when I first saw the trailer come out a couple months ago, I was like, heck yes, this looks incredible. And then, just a few weeks ago, some live stream came out with the devs talking about microtransactions that were in the game. So let's get this right out of the way. There's a lot of controversy around this game, but for the most part, it doesn't seem to be fazing too many people. Shadow of War is a single-player only game. It is a story-based, open-world action-adventure game. You complete story missions, and you explore the world, and you do side quests, and kill off other orc commanders, and such like that. There is no multiplayer, there is no co-op, there is no PvP, there is nothing like that. But yet, this game has loot crates in it. Loot crates that you either spend in-game currency on, if you can farm it enough, or that you pay with real money for. Now, when I first heard this, I did not want to buy this game. I didn't want to support it because, you know, that's garbage. That is absolute garbage that you're putting loot crates, things that I have to pay money for random drops in a single-player campaign game. It's really stupid. But it wasn't the developer's idea. Monolith Productions is the developer of the game, and I can tell through the live streams and all that, they didn't want these microtransaction loot crates to be in the game. This was something that Warner Bros., the publishers of the game, kind of pushed onto them. So I want to support Monolith because I think they're a great company. Both Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor have been incredibly fun games to play. I really enjoy them. I don't want to buy any loot crates, I'm not going to, because I don't want to support that sort of negativity inside a single player campaign. I've already spent $60 for this game, it is only single player, there shouldn't be loot crates as far as I'm concerned. I know most people have been pretty negative towards loot crates. No one really wants them in games, even, you know, multiplayer shooter games. I don't mind them if they're there. I think a game that does loot crates pretty well would be Titanfall, although I guess they aren't crates. I don't know, something like Overwatch or even Lawbreakers, you know, everything in those games is purely aesthetic, so I don't really mind that. But whenever games start incorporating loot crates that give you equipment or weapons that starts to change the game, like Battlefront 2 is about to, then I think it's unfair and it just becomes pay to win. But the game that I felt handled multiplayer transactions really well was Titanfall 2. Everything was aesthetic, but you could either unlock it or purchase it. But back to Shadow of War. That's pretty much the controversy. There's microtransactions in a single player campaign. If this is sort of ringing an alarm in your head and you're going like, wait, what? Then that's a good thing, because this stuff shouldn't be there. It doesn't belong in a game. And Warner Bros. Should be ashamed that they put that shit in a single-player action-adventure game. Especially one that had such huge anticipation for it because the first game was amazing, and especially one that's from a beloved franchise like Lord of the Rings. So that's my stance on the controversy. I didn't want to purchase this game, I didn't want to support it, but I did anyways because I wanted to see how bad it was. And I can say that if, you know, it's not like they push it on you entirely. There is a selection in the pause menu and the main menu that says market, and if you click that, it takes you to the different loot crates. I looked at it one time and backed out. It's not something that they pushed on me over the first like 4 or 5 hours that I've played the game, so it's not a big deal to me. I don't like that they're in there. I fully support them being taken out, but as long as they don't push them on me, it won't get any worse for me. I think I can play this entire game and complete the story and complete all the content in the game without purchasing a single loot crate. And if that's the case, then I'm okay with that. I want that to be the case. But if they start putting stuff behind a paywall, then I'm going to be a bit more pissed. So, let's talk about the good stuff now. We got the story of the game, which picks up kind of almost immediately after the first game. It sort of has some stuff that happened in between that isn't really explained. Celebrimbor, your ancient elven ghost friend, is somehow captured by Shelob, who's the spider from the third movie, who is apparently also a woman. There might be some DLC in the future to sort of explain how that happened. As far as I can tell, you just kind of showed up and you made a deal with Shelob, and now you're kind of working along with her. And for those of you who are arachnophobic, don't worry. You see her as a spider like one time at least as far as I've gotten, and then she goes into human form. It's not that bad. But if you're arachnophobic, it's probably gonna scare the shit out of you. Because it freaked me out a little bit. I didn't look at the monitor for a couple seconds. I know, I'm a wuss, but I don't like spiders. The story seems decent. A lot of the characters are just kind of awkwardly there. I don't want to spoil anything like too much, but the first few hours are going to have you fighting in this city to sort of fight back the orcs and try to retrieve this artifact that the orcs are trying to get, and you don't want them to get it. Some of the other characters are a little bit weird. The female character, I can't remember her name, but her dialogue is just, it's very cliche. It's very, I'd say cringy. It's a little strange. She acts like she's never, prepared for a fight before. Everyone's trying to survive. There's a lot of guys out there dying, and she's worried about getting their history out of the building, which I kind of understand, but my first priority in a situation like this would be, I want to live, and I want my friends to live. I don't care about the statues we built. I don't care about any of that. I want to live. So it's nothing big. The other characters are just kind of there. They don't have too big a role. Talion and Celebrimbor are sort of the main focus of the game, as you'd expect, and they're pretty good. Troy Baker does a great job as Talion. I don't know the voice actor for Celebrimbor, but he's still got that majestic, amazing voice that he had in the first game. As far as gameplay goes, it's a lot of fun. It's actually incredibly fun. It's everything that was great about Shadow of Mordor's gameplay, they enhanced upon, and a lot of the issues with it, some of them are still there. I noticed within the first hour or two, Talion was making some really questionably large jumps from spot to spot that I wasn't even aiming for. I don't know why he was going there, or what was causing that. It's the same issue that happens in Assassin's Creed games. So I guess it's just something with, how characters traverse an environment. There's still the issue of you can build up your power to do a strong attack that takes up your power. I think it's called an execution. Sometimes you're aiming at a commander, an orc commander that you want to hit with it, but Talion will just target some random ass orc off to the side and he'll go for them. Which, it's not a big deal, except I don't want to die when I'm fighting these orcs, because this game can be very difficult. I don't know how randomly generated the orc commanders are in the starting area. I don't know if they're scripted, but I had some pretty heartbreaking moments and some pretty, triumphant moments. It was so fun to... There was this one orc, I can't remember his name, but he had, this gold armor on, and he beat me, 4 times. He never killed me when he beat me, because he was, I forget what they called him. He was a humiliator. Instead of killing you, he just taunts you, and then he'll walk off screen. And the one fight we had, it was the first fight I had with him, he taunted me 4 times. He gave me 4 chances to get back up and beat him, and I still couldn't do it, so then he just walked away. But then, I went back, he beat me again, went back, he beat me again, went back, and then I finally killed him. And it was I felt so accomplished. I felt like I had work to do that. It took a couple hours, and I was really happy about it. It was really cool how they make the orcs the way that they are. They're pretty much how they were in Shadow of Mordor, except I feel like they have a bit more personality this time. They look a bit more varied. One of the orc commanders had maggots in him, and you could see them through the right side of his torso, and it was really cool. Because he has this ability that he can curse you, which brings your health down to the smallest amount it can go without you dying. And then, the moment someone hits you, you're just dead. There is some some weird moments where orc captains can teleport to attack you. If it's a killing blow or something, I don't understand what caused that. It happened to me once, so it's not that big a deal. The traversal in the environment, you can upgrade Talion so that after you jump over something or climb up something, you press the A button, at least on an Xbox gamepad. You press the A button and then, he gets that speed boost. They added a double jump feature. If you jump off a building, you unlock this later in the first area. When you jump off a building, you can press A again, and Talion will do a side flip to go farther. When you climb up buildings and walls, every time Talion grabs a ledge, you can press A and it will boost him up a huge amount. They made everything faster and smoother, and I really enjoy the traversal this time around. I can tell that the game's going to be really in-depth with the whole Nemesis system. It's really interesting so far. I'm really excited to see how far it's going to go. I still haven't come across any drakes. I came across a troll. It was part of the siege on the castle, and I got to use it. That was part of the story, and that was pretty cool. Oh, I can't believe I almost forgot to mention this. The gear customization. Yeah, whenever you kill orc commanders, they give you loot based on, you know, what rank they are. You get different armor sets, different swords, daggers, bows, cloaks. It's really, really cool. I really, really like it. I didn't know how I felt about it at first, because the first time I got a drop, it was just a better version of what I already had. And I was like, okay, well, if they're just going to be better versions, there's no other stats to them. It's just now you have more health. And I was like, I don't really like that. But if you get epic and legendary gear, then they do have special stats that you have to complete a challenge to unlock. And I had 2 pieces of armor that had the same amount of protection, but one of them had a different bonus stat than the other, and you had to do different challenges to get them. So it was really cool to see that sort of happen. The skill tree is increased. It's got a lot more to it now, so you can not only upgrade skills, but then your skills have smaller skills that you can upgrade, which are the little circles next to them, and that's really cool. It adds a lot more depth. There's some really unique and interesting stuff in there. The way that the orcs interact with each other is really cool, because like if I went to do missions where one orc commander was going to be executed by another, and I interfered and I got some Gondorian soldiers to help fight with me, and then, you know, I turned my back for 1 second, and then that other orc commander took advantage of the situation. He charged in and he chopped the head off of the orc commander that was going to be executed. And it's happened to me multiple times. Like, they'll fight you, but they want to kill the orc commander that they're up against. Like, they hate each other just as much as they hate you, which is really cool. It adds some personality, and it's like you gotta watch out for that stuff, because I'm assuming that later in the game, if they do something like that, it might be able to upgrade them, make them stronger. So overall, those are pretty much my first impressions. The story is decent. I'm gonna expect it to be at least as good as the first game, which I didn't really care too much. I didn't focus too much. The elements of the first game are still there. Talion is still talking about his family. There's new characters involved. So the story I don't really care about with this kind of game. I know for a lot of people that's the main appeal, but I really like the Nemesis system in this game. That's the feature that's going to keep me coming back to play it. And it's better than the first game did it already. It's really cool. Just the gameplay mechanics altogether are really cool. They're really fun. The game feels pretty smooth. There are some slight moments where Talion jumps a mile to get to his landing spot, but other than that, it's fine. It works great. My biggest complaint is still the microtransactions. I feel like they have no reason to be there, but Monolith can't exactly go to their publisher and be like, hey, we're not going to put this in the game because it's stupid, so I can't really fault them for it. I can only fault Warner Bros. And not support that by not buying the crates. So normally I would tell you, hey, don't buy this game because I don't want to support that sort of behavior, but then I would be the biggest hypocrite ever. So if the first game is something you enjoyed, or this game looked interesting to you, if you like the Batman Arkham games but want some more depth to the gameplay, this game is definitely for you. It's an incredible time. It's a lot of fun. Just don't buy the microtransactions. Please, I'm begging you. Do not buy the loot boxes unless you're using the in-game currency. Even then, I don't know. I kind of don't want to support that. You can spend your currency on other things, like upgrading Talion. So anyways, guys, that is it for this video. These are my first impressions of the game. I don't know if there will be something more in-depth later on, but we'll just have to see. So thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check out Shadow of War if it's something that tickles your fancy. And I will see you guys in the next video.